The area around the ancient ship was clear of Humies for the moment. The Orks reveled in the joy of combat as the battle swung in their favor. War Boss Gutzmangul breathed in the sweet smell of carnage as he and his boys plowed through the Humie lines, chopping, stomping, and butchering them. They sent the few survivors scurrying to the back lines. Gutzmangul laughed.
Ha 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 ha! Come on! Is that the best you got?
Inquisitor Dreadnought smiled as she heard the brazen orc bellow his challenge. Not by a long shot, dear orc. Deploy the Eversaws. As the orcs rallied and charged down the tunnels after the fleeing Humies, the Inquisitors stood by two capsules that were mounted on what looked like some kind of mobile launch system. The tech priest of her retinue began the release sequence. The Orks were laughing gleefully as they chopped apart the Humies. Smasher and Spoon led the way, burning and buzzsawing their way through the masses. Suddenly, they heard a hissing sound that sounded like the rush of air or maybe a Storm Boy rocket. Then, screaming down the tunnel came the two capsules, flying right into the Ork mob. Spoon expected some kind of explosion and backed off, worrying that his burner tank might just go off.
Out of the way! I'm not doing the Bernie dance if I can help it!
There was no explosion, but the decision to back off still might have saved Spoon's life. The two capsules plowed into the Orkish lines, crushing several boys, before bursting open to reveal two skull-faced Humies armed with a fancy-looking chopper and shooter. Spoon had a moment of confusion. Did they just send two Humies to take on the entire mob of Orks by themselves? Then, the Eversaw assassins went to work. Bolter fire ripped through the ranks of the Orks as the power swords of these combat-stimmed, soaked berserkers sliced effortlessly through their thickest armor.
The Zorg is up with these Humies! Oh, some git filled them up with gawkiness! Yeah! Makes for a better fight! Do the Bernie dance, you gits!
Spoon sent a gout of Bernie bits at the two whirlwinds of death. He managed to catch a few boys in the flames, but the Eversaws leapt into the air, one landing right in front of Spoon and slashing through the nozzle of his burner pack.
I am your end, Orc! For the Emperor! Zog off, you tiny jumpy git!
The deaf dread pilot Smasher came careening out of the mob of Orks, his grabby claw and his buzzsaw screaming for blood. The assassin dodged the buzzsaw, firing his needle pistol into the lumbering dread. Smasher yelled in surprise when the thin slivers punched right through his armor and shot right out the back of his hull. Fortunately, he was not struck by the extremely potent toxins that would overwhelm even an Ork's haughty constitution. The Ork lunged with his buzzsaw, and again the assassin dodged out of the way. This time he sliced right through the saw arm with his power sword. The Humie looked like they were going to step forward and stab right into the body of the dread, but a small hunk of metal bounced off the Eversaw's skull.
You stupid Humie git! You broke me burner!
Spoon had picked up a bit of burner barrel that had been chopped off by the assassin and hurled it in frustration. The unexpected clunk gave Smasher the opportunity he needed. He lashed out with his grabby claw and seized the dodgy little Humie. He held the assassin high in the air before slamming it down into the ground. The deaf dread pilot Ace lifted his foot to properly stomp this git good.
You ain't so tough! Ha ha ha! There ain't nothing that Smasher Clanker Breaker can't crump!
As soon as the Ork Walker brought his foot down, the assassin exploded with the force of a melter bomb, engulfing Smasher Clanker Breaker and reducing his dread to molten slag, and killing a dozen other Orks that were pressing in on the ferocious Humie. Spoon looked on in admiration.
I died doing what he loved. Breaking stuff. Ozog,
Spoon's attention was brought back to the remaining assassin, who was still dicing up orcs with surprising speed. Spoon looked back at his burner tank and took a deep drag on his squigar, letting the noxious smoke slowly slide out of his mouth and nostrils.
Looks like I gotta go out doing what I love. Taking hits and burning gets.
Spoon ripped the tube free from his burner gun that ran to his Bernie juice tank. He sealed the tube with his thumb and prepared to charge the Eversaur. Then, all it would take was one little touch of his squigar, and that barking mad Humie would make another one of those pretty explosions. Spoon was about to make his run when War Boss Gutzmangul burst onto the scene.
This one is mine! Come here, you shooty, jumpy Yumi!
The massive orc ran while firing his massive custom shooter at the assassin. The other assassin managed to dodge behind a line of orcs who were subsequently mowed down by the angry war boss.
Hold still so I can crump ya!
The war boss was large and powerful, and moved with surprising agility. His power claw went blow for blow with the Eversaur's power sword. This was the assassin's target. He took his time with this duel, as much as berserk maniacs can take their time. If they could kill this war boss, then the rest of the orcs would be easy pickings for the remaining Imperial forces, and there was no way that the other orcs would dare interfere with this duel. He just needed to wait for his chance. Gutzmangul overextended just a little bit as he swung his power claw. The assassin saw his opportunity and rolled underneath the war boss's guard and raised his power sword to plunge it into the orc's chest. It punched right through Gutzmangul's sturdy power armor and embedded itself deep within. The war boss roared in pain. Now all that had to be done was to rip the sword up right through the beast's head, and this little war would be over before it started. However, before he could pull his sword upwards, he felt the war boss close his fist around the assassin's sword hand. With a dozen cracks and snaps, Gutzmangul broke nearly every bone in the psychotic maniac's hand and wrist. The assassin brought up his executioner pistol to try to finish the job, but Gutzmangul's claw closed in around him, knocking the weapon from his hand. The war boss spat blood from his mouth as the power sword still stuck in his chest.
Ain't no runny Yumi gonna kill me, no matter how flashy their goblins are.
Spoon saw what was about to happen.
Boss, those dodgy Yumis is bomb squigs. You crump 'em and then they explode.
Gutzmangul nodded in understanding and raised the assassin to his mouth and neatly chomped the git's head off before spitting it out and hurling the body back to Humie lines, causing another catastrophic explosion.
A little taste of your own medicine, huh, Humies?
As Gutzmangul reveled in victory, Snickwit, his shoulder grot, returned from the ship.
Oi, boss! Orkbot says he's ready to go. We can get on this ship. We can leave this place. Oh, you can fight with Gazgul again, boss.
Gutzmangul grinned. He was moments away from his dream of rejoining the biggest war the galaxy had ever seen. Inquisitor Dreadnought narrowed her eyes as the orcs cheered and celebrated their victory. Don't get too comfortable yet, Orc. I still have one card up my sleeve. No man do they call me. My mother and my father, and all my comrades as well. Thank you all very much for listening to Gutzmangul's Boys. If you enjoyed this, liking and commenting shows me just how much Guts and his mob mean to you all. And if you are new to the channel and you enjoyed what you heard, please subscribe to help make the galaxy a happier and greener place. If you have absolutely no idea what's going on, you can click on the Gutzmangul playlist and start the story over from the beginning. And if you would like to shower me with teeth and gubbins, you can check out my Patreon to support me, or donate via PayPal if you prefer. Thank you all very much again. No Man out.